Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Sometimes over the course of the weekend, I want to make special videos in this channel that highlight unique issues within the game that can be improved, and some of which would be what I like to call a no-brainer. Now, over the years, people have said, Prof, you use that phrase too often on your channel, and I probably do. But it's just a popular expression that I like to use when we talk about quality of life improvements, or what Kabam calls QOL. Because let's be very honest about this. Kabam has changed the quality of life for better for the 1% of players that are going to need higher inventory caps, particularly during Cyber Week, for Tier 6 Basic and Tier 3 Alphas. I can safely say that until they get dramatically cheaper, and who knows, over the course of the next year they might, what are the odds that you or I or anybody else are going to have any of those items in the overflow, especially with the black ISO store cap, when you have the cap at 30? I'm amazed I've held on to 6. I usually take a 6-star to rank 4 as soon as I can, but I've got 7-star Titania targeted at rank 2 now, and I also have multiple 6-stars that I'd like to take to rank 5, especially before I jump into Necropolis Aegon, who's moved to the top of the list after the research and feedback from so many incredible content creators and players alike that have already done Necropolis, some completion runs, and of course, even some exploration runs. With that being said, Kabam has taken the Tier 3 Alpha and Tier 6 Basic Catalyst economy to what feels like at least 2030, but they have kept frozen in time everything else, and a large part of the player base, even a large part of the Paragon player base, still focuses on ranking up 6 stars, and 6 stars need, well, 3 different items. But let's look at my own inventory to display why I'm making this video. So it is a level up event at the time of recording this, although when this hits my channel, given how I'm spacing out my videos this weekend, it will have already expired. But maybe, just maybe, for a different progression title, it is your level up. Well, when you look at this, you'll see that I have a ton of Tier 4 class catalysts in my inventory that expire quickly. So this forces me to either sell them or spend them, even though I would prefer to not. They have not changed that item's inventory at all. They have the same amount of Tier 4 class catalysts as Tier 3 Alpha and Tier 6 Basic. On top of that, because I do all the 22-hour events and a lot of the 7-hour events, I have well over 1,000 Tier 4 class catalysts in my crystal stash unopened. And Kabam is always telling us that the servers run better. They have told us this for years. If people like myself don't hold 29,000 crystals in our inventory. But so many of the crystals I have in my inventory, I can't open because then they'll just be expired. And now you can see I've got 1,288 Tier 4 class catalyst crystals. I would love to open those someday, but I have no motivation to ever do that. That number is just going to go up because the inventory cap has not been lifted and increased. But where this becomes a massive problem is that a gift from them has turned into essentially a curse. They now give us the opportunity to get double the daily crystals. They have also done a fantastic job of lowering the amount of hours needed to refresh the login crystal every day, and that largely solved. Whoever thought of that should get a raise, because I definitely missed that solution in videos I made before that policy was changed. But the Daily Paragon Crystal, which of course is about to be trumped by the Daily Valiant Crystal, is fantastic. It gives a lot of the items I'm talking about. It gives you Tier 4 class Catalyst, it gives you Tier 5 Basic, it gives you Tier 2 Alpha. But because there are now so many more opportunities to get Tier 5 Basic, I think it is easily obtainable and even easily relatable that so many people have, like me, more Tier 5 Basic now than Tier 2 Alpha. That economy has flipped, and they should have, at least at minimum, increased this by 10 to 40 for both as a cap, but they didn't. And in Tier 5 Basic Catalyst case, it's still at 19. How? It is easier now in these crystals for Paragon players to get Tier 5 Basic than Tier 4 Basic. In fact, I often spin my units, and before I recorded this video, I spent 700 units worth of Tier 4 basic catalyst because I wanted to take for the Summoner Trials Arena, especially as I continue to preach that is the best way to get free units before Cyber Week and before gifting or banquet or whatever they're going to call it this year. That is the cheapest item. It's 15 units per, but you have to buy it because you don't really get Tier 4 basic much anymore, and it takes a ton of those. It takes 8 to take a 4-star from rank 3 to rank 5. But of course, if you're going to upgrade a 6-star, and that is also part of this very important conversation, even just from rank 1 to rank 2, which again, a 6-star is still the top prize for featured 6-star and featured basic arenas, and yes, maybe a 7-star arena will be around the corner at some point, but not right now at the time of recording this. But let's say I'm going to take this Hawkeye to rank 2. Well, I'm going to need 3 Tier 5 basic and 7 Tier 2 alpha. So even though the Tier 2 alpha inventory limit is higher than the Tier 5 basic, you're still going to spend a lot more Tier 2 alpha than you will Tier 5 basic, forcing us to have to choose between 2 really inconvenient scenarios, of which I see happening on my own account, as I have for the first time ever, but it's going to become even more of a problem as this gets deeper into more crystals being opened, because the 2 daily crystals a day gift/curse is still relatively new to the game economy. But I'm going to have more Tier 5 basic that are expiring that obviously aren't going to be used to upgrade 4 stars. So then I can upgrade 5 stars, but I don't use 5 stars even in the arena anymore, except for the special arenas that I do because I'm an addict, that really aren't worth people's time for Tier 4 basic or Tier 1 alpha. But I still do them, and that's when I use the 5 stars or those really rare arenas a couple times a year where the 5 stars are the best champs to use. But even those are becoming harder and harder to find. So the solution to this is twofold, and it's obvious. And Kabam should have already done it, but they haven't. Either give us a chance to sell these items that are about to expire for Tier 6 basic and Tier 3 alpha fragments, because you just increased those caps to 30, so clearly we're not worried about those going in the overflow anytime soon. Or, most importantly, do what I've already discussed in this video and just increase the freaking inventory caps to something that wasn't 2018 or 2019 rates. If you don't do that, you're going to tick off so many players who work hard to get these items and then can't use them before they expire, and they can't sell them because they're too high value. I think as a community, we are ignoring a major economy of the game issue that for so many players, and not just middle-class players or growing accounts, but even in-game players are going to run into or are already running into. And some of you blow my inventory cap issues out of the water. I've seen triple digits of Tier 2 alpha and Tier 5 basic in the overflow, and there's nothing you can do because they are still valued like they were when they first came out. There's no reason that a Tier 2 alpha in almost 2024 is looked at as a Tier 3 alpha. And yet that's how Kabam has preferred to keep their economy, to not make it easier for us to get Tier 6 basic and Tier 3 alpha outside of buying them. And if they still want us to value those items as well, I say that's fine, but, and there is a big but to this, increase the inventory caps so we don't have to risk losing as many. Because look at this row. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 next to each other in a couple weeks that I'm going to have to use all of or just lose. And that just depresses me, and it feels like an easy fix. So as a community, this is my rally cry. Please let us appeal to Kabam's senses and get this improved and changed. Have you seen this problem on your account? Or do you think I'm just some old hack that's yelling into the clouds? Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below. Have a good one.